So what you'll be watching is an exhausted video on how to program stems for a song from start to finish. And so stick with me, and here we are. So first we're going to start by uploading the songs to from the hard drive to the appropriate file. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the last ones. And then so this time we'll be doing Sunday morning. And we're going to be doing it a little different. If you've seen a bunch of files there, it's because that's like the extra ultra safe way to do it. But so here I am now plugging in the hard drive right now. If you don't know how to plug in a hard drive, you are in the wrong business. I'm just kidding. But so here we are. Okay, so it should pop up about right here in a couple seconds. And there we go. So those are where watching this video on Elon Musk. He's a genius. So I'm gonna just right now go to the Planning Center service where I'm about to find out what songs we're doing. And so looks like we'll be doing Hillsong, Alive. Oh, let's do this. There we go. All right. So that song will be in G flat. Alive will be in G flat. So that's pretty cool because you'll even learn something too, how to transpose. But alright, here we go. So how the song's Alive, Falling Into You, and Spirit Move. I'm gonna use my 3 fingers to swipe over just so I can go back and forth to the songs just in case I forget it. And I'm also gonna open up multi-tracks because I'm gonna be looking for song tempos, and multi-tracks is just the fastest, most efficient way to do it. And you don't need a count for that, so that's awesome. So the first song is Alive. I'm gonna go to Music Ministry page. I'm going to find it. It's in alphabetical order, so song name first. Alive in G flat, which we already have because we've done it before. So I'm going to go ahead and open it just like I did. Click on it, double click it. And then this right here, multi-track. I'm going to go ahead and click this. This already has the loaded, like the markers and everything set. So that's kind of cool. And it just makes it kind of easy to jumpstart the first song. And you'll see why it kind of matters, but it doesn't do that with all the songs. So here we are. We have now the file session. I know it looks like a lot, but I'm going to try my best to talk through everything. It's going to be about like a 30-minute video training, so you can do it as you go. It's just a template of things to do, not specific. So, but very specific at the same time. Just it's a template so that it doesn't matter what songs I choose, you can do the same thing. So here we are. We have a ton of things going on, but I'll walk you step by step. There's a bunch of markers here. These tell us what part of the song we're in. So if you see they're very labeled, they're very specific. Verse starts here and so forth. The first thing I do off the bat is I click on the click track right here, the empty space within it. Then I press shift and click again to guide. That'll click a mass quantity of things. Everything between what you just clicked. And so now I'm going to click this arrow, and that'll expand them. Now the reason I wanted to expand them because then this popped up. This is centered. When we do the tracks, we pan them left and right. So the guide is on one, the click and guide are on one, and then the stems over here are all on the right. That way the audience doesn't hear the stems. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm going to drag it down all the way far left. I'm going to close that. I'm going to do the same thing but the opposite to the stems. Click the arrow to expand it. Click on this. Alright, see how to adjust them all the same way? And then I'm going to do I'm going to turn off the tracks that we're not going to use. So by clicking this light, 3. Go into the bass track. We don't use that. There's one guitar, but we have a guitarist. And then these vocals, I turn off all the vocals except the background effects because they're kind of cool. See that? I did the same thing. I clicked it, pressed shift, clicked again, and then you could turn everything on or off. The light being off means it's off, kind of like in life. So not too complicating. The next thing I do, and this is for the musicians, I click, so I I expand the click track, and then you click on the empty space. Don't drag or anything, but just click, and you notice you'll set a marker. What you're doing is you're communicating that you want to start modifying this audio file. So then after you've clicked it one time, I just was clicking just to show you. You want to click to this bottom right guy over here, this little giant. This is the whole WAV file in its whole sum. I click on it, and it pulls it up. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here, click on this empty space within the brackets, and I'm going to click and pull down. That way I can really zoom in. And that's how you zoom in and out, down and up, by clicking the bracket. And you could do that too. So this kind of lets you zoom in a little more finely. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right here to this little marker, and I'm going to click on it and pick up the audio file until it touches the top. That way the click is the same volume for all the musicians as you're going. Okay? Again, we're creating stems. This is going to be a long video. It's a training video, and so just stay along for the ride. And it's going to take you a couple times to learn all this, so don't be discouraged. Next thing we're going to do, we just panned the tracks, which is making them left and right, panning them left and right. The next thing we're going to do, since we modified the click volume and made it a little louder so that all the clicks are around the same volume, we're going to name the track, okay, by clicking this marker, the start of the song, pressing Command R, and then I just do caps lock and I say Alive and press enter. Okay, and we're going to do that a couple more times. So that's how you name a marker. Now what we're going to do is cue the MIDI. So this is cue the hotkeys, so you can navigate the track a little more quicker. And so here's what I mean by that. We're going to go up to the top. We're going to click the key right here. You see this right here? Z, 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 Z. We're going to change that by, we just click the key, and we're going to go to this arrow right here to the left. We're going to click the top one. We're going to scroll down and then press shift and click the bottom one. And then we're going to press delete. We just deleted every cue that was already pre-made from the people who made Ableton. Okay? So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to still on this key page. We're going to click on the S like that. Yep, see that? And we're going to press F. We're going to do the same thing to the guide. Now what we're saying is, we're going to click out of this key. What we're saying, what we just communicated to the computer was, when I press F on the keyboard, it will solo the click and the guide. That's in the case that the worship leaders and the musicians get unaligned. The band can press F, keep the click and guide, keep the tempo, and then they can locate us and get us on track and then unmute the stems. Okay? The next cue we're going to make is, we're going to click on key again. We're going to click to the first song, and we're going to click 1. Now we just did the same thing. We're communicating to the stems. We're communicating to the computer and saying, when I click 1, go to the beginning of the first song. 1 equals the first song. And that is it for the first song. So, and it's the easiest because all the markers were already set. We're going to do one last thing with the key, is we're going to click on key. This is your preference, but I click right here on this arrow, and I use the arrow that's pointing left on the keyboard, which is right next to the M, and then the right arrow for this right, so it's the left and right arrow. Not the arrows that you use to navigate, but the actual arrow on the keyboard, the one that's the comma and the period. So that way we're communicating. When I press the arrow, see how the marker goes to the next marker? So that little red little cursor right there symbolizes where we'll be when we start, when we press space and start. So that's the first song. We got it going. The next song, which is, I believe it's Falling Into You. So remember, we're going to go ahead and click this marker. Now if there wasn't a marker there already, you would just click in the space you want it to be in. This just not specific. It'll just really make the marker in that general position exactly right there. So you're going to click set, and that'll create a marker right there. delete, we'll delete that current marker you're on. So just so you know, some people set a hotkey to delete and set markers. I just don't do it. I don't think it's that much faster. And so you can go ahead and we're going to make Falling Into You. Now this is a little more complicated because if you remember last time we just clicked and boom, the session showed up. So now we're going to do it a little differently. First we're going to save this. I always try to save it as I make a little progress. Mine never crashes, but you don't want to. I just say a live Sunday and then I put the date. So I think it's the 21st. And then I go to desktop, Sunday morning worship. I don't say Sunday morning because it's already given. We don't have a night service. Boom. That's going to save this session there, but it won't save the audio files. And so don't close or don't stop in the middle of progress. I just save it for extra security. I'll show you how to save the audio files as well. It will just save the session, not with all these audio files that we need, okay? So we're going to continue on to programming. Now Falling Into You, we want to get the tempo of the songs first. So that's why we have this right here. Shout out to Elevation. Falling Into You, okay. It's going to pop up. I'm going to click on it. BPM 105. So we're going to go down to this master track over here, okay? And you see this? You could expand it and lower it. And we're going to click. See, it's asking right now, this line is an automation. So this means as the track is going, you can manipulate certain aspects of the track. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask to manipulate the song tempo. And you see these numbers right here, 60 to 20. That means 60 is the floor and 200 is the ceiling. That's the highest we can go. And so what I do is, we said it was 105. I'm going to make 105 the floor. It just slightly modifies that line, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to click one time. Don't move, but just click and click again. That means we're stopping right there. We're not going to modify before this dot right here. So this dot we change. Everything after this dot is gonna be modified. So we're gonna drop it to the floor. Now we're gonna click it and drag it down and to the left. So it's tight against this line. So it's a straight line down. And now we're saying that from this point on, the tempo is 105, 105 BPM. Okay. So here we are. Now here's what we're gonna do. We have Falling Into You, the track, right? We're gonna find it. Falling Into You, it's F, so here we found it. It's the key of G. Remember it said the key right there? Right here, key of G. So some people call it E minor, don't get confused. Key of G, same thing. So you're gonna click on that, and then here's what we're gonna do. This one's always tricky because I don't know why it took me a long time to find it. You're gonna expand the top track, and that'll open up this opportunity. And you can do the same thing here. But it seems like it's like that's as much as space you'll get, which is all you need. You're gonna click. You're gonna drag this file right here onto the session, into this space. It won't let you drop. It won't let you drop it anywhere else. I don't want to drop it in between because then I'll separate and it's just annoying. So I always go to drag and drop. This is the section I drop it in. So we have now dropped it on the session. So right now I can click on this top section right here and go to any part, but if you double click, it'll open up all the way. So you see this, we can't have these stems going at the exact same time, so we're going to move them in the appropriate timeline. So we're going to click the click track, we're going to click the bottom of BGV effects from top to bottom, and we're going to drag it over to the marker, which is Falling Into You. This is where the song is going to start. Then again, I'm going to do it again, so just make it really snug with it. And it locks it in, so that's really good. And then remember, it has to be after this line, so always be conscious of where you make your new tempo change so that it makes sense for the song. And then sometimes the songs warp depending on the key difference. And so I just always play it safe and just drag the end of the sound file over just to play it safe. I just click them, and then bam. But, you know, you might not notice difference. Sometimes for the slower songs, it's a grand difference. So remember what we're going to do now. We're going to modify the, you can do it this way. We're going to pan it. Remember this. Drag it down. Click. Go ahead. Drag it down. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the instruments we're not using. We're not going to delete them because in rehearsal you might want to show somebody a part. Maybe they missed it or get more clarity on a part. I'll keep the piano. I'll turn off the BGVs. Keep the BGV effects. Okay, they're all panned right. The next thing we're going to do is click the click track. Click on it. Go to the bottom right. Now we're going to turn this up. I'm not keeping my eye on what I'm adjusting. I'm keeping my eye over here because I'm just looking for the sound file to touch the top. Yep. So just, play it by ear. It's like measuring food. You just kind of, sometimes you don't be so specific. It's just kind of general. So, yep. Here's that. We got everything here going. Here's what we're going to do now is we're going to make markers. So, here's how we make a marker. You're clicking. You're listening along.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So the song starts right there. I'm going to just go ahead and label that intro. And whatever she says, you just label it that way. Label it accordingly.
Verse.
Verse. Click it. So depending on the cue she says, you're going to go ahead and label it what she said it is.
Chorus.
Now, a lot of people might see this as redundant or tedious, but it is so helpful in rehearsal. It really enhances the flow of rehearsal. So
Verse.
Don't look at this like it's just, oh my gosh, it's too much work. We want to do things excellently, and this is how you do them. So
Verse.
all my friends in the industry, they do it this way.
Tag.
So this is what we're doing. My friends are coming up. I'm doing a training video right now. I'm doing a training video.
Chorus.
Yeah, you're lucky we're going to fast forward this part.
Chorus. Interlude.
Are you guys going to lunch or something?
Sure.
Oh, you mean give her...
Bridge.
Dude, I didn't use my...
Instrumental.
I didn't use my rewards for,
You got a chip on your shoulder.
Chorus.
I didn't use my rewards for Cafeteria. That's messed up, huh?
Repeat chorus.
Hey, your niece is here.
Hold on.
Refrain.
I'm doing a training video real fast.
Okay.
Refrain.
Hold on.
Refrain.
You know where your priorities are,
This is a horrible circumstance. This is the section we're going to fast forward, so it's fine.
Ending.
So we just did the ending of the song, and so we fast forwarded it. It's kind of cool to see all your work when you're focused and you're setting markers, and you realize how much markers you just set. So that's for one song, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to key. This is the second song, so we're going to mark it as 2. That means when I press 2 now, it'll jump me to that song, to that second song. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the third song, the final song. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to lower this, we're going to minimize the file, and the last song is Spirit Move. So to find the tempo, we're going to go ahead and click it, Spirit Move. Click on Spirit Move, just like I said we would do. And we're going to find that BPM, which is 80. Now, if it's a higher tempo than the floor, then we'll lower it. But since it's lower, we can just go lower and lower. So we'll drop it to 80, and now we can zoom in, and we'll zoom in on top right here by clicking and dragging down. And here we go. So we could just go ahead and make the song start here. Spirit Move. after the second song, we always have a stop. So here's, I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. First, you want to click to the right, double click to the right, and put insert MIDI track. Then you're going to rename this MIDI track by clicking on it and pushing Command R. And you're going to name it stop. We're going to double click on it and we're going to make it red. Okay? And of course you could rewind these. I'm not going to go over things again. Go to no output right here and you're going to click on IAC driver. It's important. And then so you're going to click now right here or anywhere before the song pretty much. And you're going to click Command Shift M. Well, you're going to drag a space first. So you're going to click one and you're going to drag one space. It could, as long as you make it, it'll create that MIDI track, but you don't need it longer than one little beat. So you click Command Shift M and it'll create a MIDI track in that space. The next thing you're going to do is double click that MIDI track and it'll open it up for you to modify it. Then you're going to double click a spot and you're literally going to create a MIDI note and you're just going to expand it all the way to the end of the track so it fills it up. And this is pretty precise, okay? So this next one is time sensitive. You're going to click on MIDI and then you're going to start the song somewhere before this track. And here's why. Because you're going to right as it's playing, you're going to click stop up here. And then notice, boom, it changed when it ran into that MIDI note. What you just told the computer was, when you hit that MIDI note, stop the track. So watch this. Now when we play it, when it comes to that MIDI note, it stops. And that's how you create a stop track. And that's always after the second song, but for larger sessions, it could be after the fourth song or fifth song, or if it's a concert, if you don't want to get caught up going and actually stopping it, you want it to happen naturally, or there's a free flow moment, you just want to be ready for those. So that's a stop track. We've created that. And so now we're going to add the stems to Spirit Move. So let's find those in the hard drive. And go to the S's, Spirit Move. Yep, that's it. So it's a smaller track, which is kind of cool. We're going to get this little section open, remember, by clicking in or expanding one of these guys. It might be the master or it might be that, but it just depends. Then I'm going to click this session right here. Right there, yep. I'm going to drag it. Same thing, it's going to automatically drop it to the beginning of the whole session. So you have to click on click, and then the bottom track, and drag it all the way over to the start. Yep, and that looks good. Sometimes it acts a little funky, but you just got to finagle it in there. And I'm going to do the same thing we've been doing. So I'm going to pan the tracks, click it, pan these right, turn off the guitars because guitars should be covered. I'm going to turn off the bass and the drums, the percussion. The pianos are very special pianos, so just make sure you use your ear to listen to them. Don't just say, oh, we have a piano, I'm going to shut it off. Because this is a very distinct piano part that the piano players typically never actually listen for or play them the way that they're supposed to be played, which isn't horrible, so just keep your eye out for that stuff. And if they do, it's not always important that it's doubled. The misconception is keeping it makes it fatter. It doesn't always do that. Sometimes it just muddles up the mix because you have live and then you have the stems, which is kind of faster or more responsive, and it just doesn't always create a juicier house mix. So just watch out for that. And there's the part where we're going to fast forward. It shouldn't take you this long. The videos, that way the video kind of is quicker. But we're going to click on this guide real quick, the click, and then we're going to change the speed of it, the volume, so it's a little louder, so it's equally as loud, or at least as close as possible. And yeah, so then we're going to expand this top guy. We're going to, now we're going to create the markers, so just bear with us. Remember that whatever it says, oh wait, no, I don't think I changed the tempo, so yeah, we're going to change the tempo real quick. Clicking here, and going down. So yep, Now it's 80. So now we're going to go to the end of this and make sure that it's as long as it needs to be, which it is. So now let's do that. Sorry about that. This song actually comes off the bat with the verse. Just remember that. Listen to the song. Don't just be computers and do things, you know. Every song is different. Every song has its own DNA.
Interlude.
Interlude.
Verse. Pre-chorus. Chorus. Interlude. Verse. Pre-chorus. Chorus. Interlude. Bridge. Repeat bridge. Chorus. Repeat chorus. Ending.
And so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the stop track way over here. And we're going to, you could just copy it. I push Command C. You can know your hotkeys. They work that way too. And I just go ahead and stop it there. And that's how you do this, guys. The last most important thing. So we have now Sunday morning, right? We have this on the file. We didn't drag and drop those files from the Lacy hard drive into this desktop because it's just too much data. You don't want to run a lot of things. But the last thing you're going to do is file, collect all, and save. Now watch this. See this desktop file? See how there's, you know, not anything. There's no audio files in there, but watch this. We're going to put collect all and save. And what it's going to do is save all these audio files as part of these tracks. So you see this? It just says multi-tracks. And it's going to add every single file. You see it's happening right now as we speak. It takes a minute. And so a good way to find out the pace it's going is by, it might be done already. Usually it takes some time, but seems like, you know, depending on how busy your computer is, you know, it might go faster or slower. But yeah, this is how you program tracks. So now you can navigate. Remember, the last thing I just forgot to do on this video was solo the click in the guide. This is important because you don't plan to make mistakes, but you do plan for mistakes. So you solo those clicks and guides so that the band should be competent enough to not crash and burn without the stems. That way it just gives you that click and guide, which still kind of glues everyone together, at least while, you know, until the next song or even next section, depending on how fluent or you know, the person running Ableton is. So that's how you do it, guys. I hope it really helped you. And yep, go ahead and do